Hello lords and ladies, Jacob Butter speaking. Well, it is finally time. The auditions for Stromanoff University have in fact closed. And now it is time that I reveal the character list. Jaden and I have been talking about this, and to some extent we've been deliberating with each other. Sometimes we had a very strong opinion as to who should voice which character. Other times we had to compromise a bit, otherwise it was pretty much unanimous. So, a bit of a mixture of everything. So just so you know, if you didn't get a role this time round, it's probably because we had 36 individual auditions to get through, and honestly, the characters, I'm pretty sure there are like 10 of them, if that, maybe less at the moment. There will be other characters introduced in other episodes. For example, Mose we had already in this audition because we knew she was going to be a character later. She's not even in the first episode. So please do bear with us, and if you didn't get a role this time, then, you know, go for one some other time. If you did get a role this time, you can still go for a different one. You can have as many as you like. In fact, I'm not sure. I think we did have some repetitions, I think, in terms of a few people. Although I'm pretty sure actually it worked out fairly balanced, actually, which was not the intention. But there you go. So I'm just going to go scroll down this spreadsheet I have in alphabetical order. So first off is Kristen. So Kristen, like I said, I think in the description, is supposed to be a lowly character. She has a very high-pitched, cutesy voice, somewhat similar to Kawaii-chan, but if anything, I don't know, compare her to the more childlike love interests in certain anime. I can't think of any names off the top of my head because, I don't know, there's just too many. So, yeah, potentially she is the lowly character. She's also super powerful, so she has that side to her. And we needed someone who could actually do like the emotional bits of the angered voice, but also have that same cutesiness to it. And the person who came closest to this, as someone who could actually predict, is the same person who is pretty much the resident lowly voice anyway, regardless. So it just kind of worked out in a way. The person who we have given this role to is It's Mimi-chan. I think if you've heard It's Mimi-chan's voice, that kind of explains itself, that yes, she does have the high-pitched cutesy voice regardless, and she did do a bit in her audition where she actually managed to pull off the angeredness ever so slightly, and was actually very deliberate in her declaration to Rose at that point, which is what we're looking for in the actual episode. I think this one is a good choice on behalf of both of us. This was a unanimous choice between Jaden and myself. So next up is Davis. So Davis is actually, his character ties into Kristen. Much more to Helga later on, but that's a whole other matter. But yes, he is Kristen's #1 fan, so of course he has to show his enthusiasm for that. He's the wide-eyed youth of the group, I guess. In terms of the Davis auditions, a lot of them were sort of downplayed in a way. In fact, I think all of them was somewhat downplayed. Looking for someone to go, my gods, that was awesome! Something like that. But I think people probably were either a bit too shy or didn't know exactly what we were going for because we didn't really specify. It didn't come across with everyone, but I think still we managed to come to a decision regardless. I think Jaden actually mostly pushed this one forward. So the person who this role goes to is Springy. Springy was the closest to the enthusiastic Davis. He did have the upward inflection, maybe had a bit more volume for that, but again, that's all redirection, so it can all be worked through. Okay, so next up we have Grace. Grace, I think, got the most individual female auditions, I think, or most individual auditions overall. I'm counting 5 people on this list already, so yes, this one was a tough one to call. Again, for this one we were looking for someone who could be snarky and somewhat sarcastic, and to show off that she can become the rival love interest. And a lot of people actually did this. So this one was kind of down to what we thought would actually work forward in the future, because obviously with character developments and stuff we haven't actually written out later, and plus I guess Grace's actual past and somewhat inner child that she has, we were thinking of someone who could actually portray that drive, that enthusiasm, that volume to the voice and everything like that And I guess this one actually explains itself once you hear about that, because the person who got this role is Dino Caroline. If you've heard Dino Caroline recently, you know that she can go from one extreme to the other very quickly, which will be really handy for this character, because again, rival and also enthusiast, and can be snarky at times as well. That's pretty much just Caroline in general, so this one pretty much worked out as well. Alright, so next up we have Helga. Helga actually was the first of a competition between only 2 of the new voice actresses, because we got 2 people all of a sudden who went for all the female roles, and they were all very good at some of them, less good at others, and in comparison to each other were about equal level on most of them. So for quite a few of them it was a tough call, and Helga was one of them. I think it was down to which one made us laugh more with the delivery of the line given. So that's what it boiled down to, and that person that it boiled down to was Fuzzy Snowy Cloud. This time I can't really say for certain exactly what about Cassie's performance it ended up being, but it was something. And it was something that we both picked up, that sometimes, these things can't really properly be explained. So I guess you don't need to explain them. Moving on. Next character is Ivan. Ivan being the teacher. I think the problem a lot of people ran into with this one is the fact that they were reading this like they were reading the script for the first time. In some cases, they were, because I brought a few people in, and they were reading it for the first time. But that's the thing. In the auditions, I leave time and I say to people, sometimes if you want to do the audition again, you can do it as many times as you want, because it is your audition. It's not like, just because you require me to be called in for it doesn't mean you can't like take up other bits of my time and, refine or perfect it. I don't think many people did that, with one exception, who end up, of course, getting the role. The person this role goes to is Dylan Wiley, aka Tytail White. Dylan actually sounds like a teacher in this instance. He actually has the commanding voice that we were looking for with Ivan. He has the clarity of speech that he needs for a teacher, and he just has the delivery to match that. So this one was a very clear victory. So congratulations to you, Dylan. This was a unanimous decision. Next up was Jax. So Jax was a role that Jade and I were considering that I would end up playing, but obviously we put it on there anyway because we decided not to reserve any of the roles. We originally were going to, but these are all the characters. There aren't any other surprises that we're going to put in there for episode 1. So we decided to make them public, and we're glad we did, because we found someone who actually has a very good voice for a love interest character, because obviously Jax is Rose's boyfriend as of that series. So yeah, someone whose voice you can actually really get behind. If we were to have cast in the same way that Afmal cast Gareth and Lawrence, then this is the character that will probably have made us or a test audience swoon, because we're not really swooners, are we, Jaden and I? But a test audience would have probably swooned, and that person is Suave King Trey. And again, a new addition that came in. He has, honestly, when you hear him, you'll probably think something like Pierce from Minor Demons slightly, with a bit of a different accent and slight more joy to him. So I think that kind of works out. I mean, Jax is a bit of a stick in the mud at the best of times, but Rose brings out the good in him. That's why that kind of work together. So that'll be good, hopefully. See how he gets on with that with the actress who plays Rose. But before Rose, we must get to Mose. Mose also had quite a few people audition. This one again was another tough call between 2 of the applicants, different 2 applicants this time. I was just there debating for ages, and Jaden didn't have much of an opinion either on this matter, so I'm just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I don't know, something in the end I just thought, I need to pick someone, and I think this person was just very, very slightly ahead. The performances sound different to each other, but they could both work for Mose, which is why there was a bit of a clash there. But the person that I did give this role to was Midnight Werewolf. I'm not going to say who the other person was that came really close, because that's not fair on them, but there was one of you out there, and yeah, but Midnight Werewolf, the role is yours. So I hope to hear more, because your audition was like 4 seconds long. But yes, you'll definitely be given more in terms of you giving actual lines next time. I will put you in episode 2 once we actually get around to writing it. Would have been really helpful for this. Mrs. Sartoris, actually, was one that Jaden had kind of decided already since day 1 of auditions. There was somebody who came in, and then seconds before we started casting, left the server and abandoned the thing completely. I wasn't too convinced about this person because they didn't actually send an audition, and I don't know exactly what the difference was. Which again, I guess, made it boil down to the exact same 2 actresses from before, from the Grace audition. Was it the Grace audition? It was the Helga audition. And again, they were neck and neck this time. But the person that I have given this role to is Alyssa Scott. Again, by a minor margin. This is a situation where, again, you're talking about 2 people who can do a voice, but they sound different to each other, but they sound equally fitting to the character. Or almost equally. So Jaden and I were talking about this. There was a slight bit of an upvote for Alyssa, so we rolled with that. Okay, here we go. Main character, Rose. The one we gave surprisingly little description for. I think this is because originally Rose was supposed to be Jaden's self-insert into the series, because Jaden at the time was called Rose when we started, composing this series. But she eventually stepped down from wanting to actually put the role forward. That's why it came in later, when we posted the main character at a later stage. I don't get that. We got a handful of auditions for Rose. Not as many as I thought, considering she's a main character, but maybe we posted the audition a bit late down, and so I'm not sure. Maybe people were put off by the lead role. But not the person who ended up getting it. The person who is going to play Rose is also Alyssa Scott. Yeah, like I said, people can get 2 roles. This is the benefit of auditioning for all the characters that you can, is that you have more chances. And clearly, Alyssa Scott had more chances, and took said chances, and succeeded in said chances, or at least 2 of them, which is more than some people actually took. So there you go. Then we go on to the villains, who, oddly enough, are all alphabetically after the good guys. So we have Semyon Semyonich, who was the last one we put on the list, and only 2 people went for him, and only one of them actually nailed the villainous but slightly friendly facade that we were going for, and had the preacher-like delivery to the second part that could work in a comedic setting. This is one where people aren't going to be happy, but bear in mind, again, there are more ways to audition for this. This is an open audition. Anyone was able to do this. And I didn't specify, if anyone was excluded from it. So I'm a man of my word. So yeah, this might anger some people, but bear in mind, this is something we're trying to do professionally, or at least in a professional capacity or attitude. So try and put differences aside to actually work together. If there's any problems, then the issue will actually be dealt with, and if there are any problems, come to me. The person who got this role was Shiny Umbreon Master. Now, people might know that Shiny Umbreon Master was removed from Vertical quite a while ago, but I don't know. It's, again, open auditions. Obviously, he's going to claim that, everything happened because of a phase or something like that. We'll see how true that is as we go along. I'm not going to get into detail as to what happened because, I've been warned against doing that. So I'm just going to leave it at that. See what happens. Any problems, they'll be dealt with. But as for right now, Shiny is going to make his grand return, I guess. As long as it doesn't go to his head, because I will be watching out for that. Certainly. So at this point we get to characters that actually no one auditioned for, but they still need people to actually voice them. So in this instance, I'm going to pick people who didn't audition for these characters, but did for others and were unsuccessful, and I'm going to put them in the roles of the Chaos, the Chaos Seekers. Sorry, I forgot the name for a second because we called them Skulls before. So they will be working under Semyon Semyonich. That is not to say they work under Shiny. Let's make that distinction very clear right now. And yeah, so they're in direct contact with Lord Erebus, who, by the way, is actually already spoken for from a previous series that we've been working on. And he's been played by BB Butter, so Lord Erebus, BB Butter, forgot to say that. They're all nerds at heart, really, but they have villainous intentions, and they're trying to make a difference in Stromanoff by, I guess trying to destroy the university from the inside. So that'll be interesting. So hopefully that will appeal to the people that I put in these roles. So the role of Sveta, or Svetlana, goes to Valentine's baby Uwu. And the role of Tanya, who is the new one in this situation, is kind of getting used to becoming the third Chaos Seeker, goes to Auk. Apologies to those two. I know that's not the roles that you wanted to go for, but hopefully if you're still interested in doing the voice acting, then I think that these two, they're okay. And in some cases, I think Valentine's baby Uwu decided actually auditioned before I posted the Sveta on the list. So, and Auk I think was slightly after. So, either way, that's the roles for the entirety of Stromanoff. I'll make an official list on Discord later, but I thought I'd do this bit of announcement here to get people excited, and also to announce that for the lords and ladies, and also to soften the blow about some of the more shocking decisions that Jaden and I have made together. But there we go. I hope everyone is actually happy with that, because I think we certainly are. So, yeah, sorry if you didn't get the roles that you wanted, and congratulations if you did. Well, congratulations regardless if you got the roles or anything like that, because, again, there were 36 individual auditions for very few characters. I haven't counted them, but, yeah, I think this worked out pretty well. And, yes, so I guess to everyone else, please stay tuned for any other casting calls, because, obviously, if we introduce new characters in other episodes, we'll need to do this thing all over again. So, yeah, but this is the main bunch for now. There'll probably be less available characters in the future, but there'll still be some. So stay tuned for that. And either way, whatever you do, please leave a like or dislike, because your opinion matters. And on that note, until next time, farewell.